Hey everybody, it's Mark with Teresa Mealy, Total Health and Wellness.
Hi.
Hi. So we're switching things up today. Teresa's behind the camera today, and I'm the one in front of the camera. So anyway, I wanted to talk about a couple of things today. But before we get started on that, because these cats we have in this house, we have little kitty carnivores here, and they're going crazy. I'm making beef jerky, and I've got this ground beef out, and I always take the little bits of leftover beef that we don't use for the jerky or when we're making burgers, and I kind of put them in the cat bowls, and they just love this stuff. So here you go, kitty cats. So I just wanted to.
They're stalking you like
Yeah,
sharks.
Yeah, come on. They've already had some this morning, so they're not super hungry.
Cute.
Anyway, just kind of wanted to show you that, but a couple of I don't know what you want to call them, maybe apprehensions that people have around changing their way of eating and going to a more carnivore, more keto way of eating is a couple of excuses come up pretty regularly. One of them is budget. People, mention, it gets expensive, and it can, especially when we're talking about meat prices. I get it, inflation, all that. And the other one is time. I don't really have time to be doing all this cooking and stuff. So I'm going to show you one option that kind of can help dispel a couple of those things, hopefully for some of you anyway. And that is making beef jerky out of ground beef. So we have several different kinds of ground beef here that we've had left over. So when we buy ground beef, we typically put it in the freezer and we keep it on hand just so we can pull it out and thaw it and use it when ready. So with that being said, sometimes we pull it out and we have some left over. So after a period of time when we have some leftovers, if we're not going to use them, I don't like to refreeze them because it takes away from the flavor. Sometimes it freezer burns it and ruins it. So rather than do that and refreeze it, I will just take it and I'll cut it into little pieces. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can see, like, for instance, here's a tube of ground beef that we purchased from a friend who had cows that we had slaughtered. And so what I'm doing is I basically just cut the package open and I cut little slices of the burger off, and then I put it on the tray here. So something, if you're going to dehydrate like I'm doing, something to keep in mind is the tray. So they make different kind of trays, but for burgers or meat in general, you want to make sure you use the solid trays because these will have some grease that comes off of them. And if you use the perforated trays, or you just use like this side of the tray there without the liner in it, you're going to have a lot of a mess. It's just going to leak through. So don't do that. The other thing, and this is just kind of a little hack with regards to freezing and thawing your meat, is if you thaw your meat out and it's frozen, especially when you're in these little prepackaged tubes and it's packed tight, that meat will expand when it's frozen, and then as it thaws out, it will contract. And a lot of times as it expands, it splits open little cracks and tears in this plastic packaging. And then what happens is you end up with this inside your refrigerator. So rather than do that, whenever you're thawing stuff out, put it in a bowl or put it in some sort of a packaging where when it leaks, you're not going to wake up in the morning and come out to a mess. We usually start it off in the sink at night, and then it just drains into the sink, but then we put it in the bowl afterwards. So what I'm doing here basically is I'm just cutting off these slices, putting these little mini burgers basically into these trays. And then what I'll do is, for me, I like to dehydrate for 4 hours. The reason I like 4 hours is because not only does dehydrating change the flavor, but it also changes the texture. But with 4 hours, you don't get that really hard to chew or really hard to tear off the pieces texture to it. It doesn't get too hard to eat. And a lot of people too with braces, like our kids have braces. It makes it hard for those type of people to kind of chew on that kind of stuff, or maybe if you have dentures in. So that's really helpful. Now you can totally tweak that and cook it less or cook it more. But basically, for 4 hours, this will make it taste like little burgers. But again, it does change the flavor and the texture, and you can adjust the flavor and the texture by how long you dehydrate it for, and also what kind of flavoring you use. So our preferred flavoring for this is the Jane's Crazy mixed up seasoning. And you can buy this at the grocery store. We just order 3 packs of it on Amazon. Super easy. And then there's the good old reliable Redmond's real salt. So that's fantastic to use as well. So that's kind of how we do the burgers. And then over here, also wanted to show you, today's our day off. So Teresa's starting the day with, and I wanted to back up and say one more thing because we're talking about starting the day. So with regards to the time and how long it takes, I can do all this dehydrating on a day off, and it only takes me about an hour if I don't stop to do videos on it and whatnot and feed the kitty cats. But it only takes me about an hour to do all this prep, and then it's just the machine doing the 4 hours worth of cooking or dehydrating. After that, I just put them in a Ziploc bag and I'm good for the week, or maybe 2 weeks, depending on how much we eat. So that helps, to kind of dispel the price. You can buy cheap meat. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. cheap ground beef. And then you also can do this over, like I said, over about an hour time period, just one day of the week, and have it ready.
Someone always asks, is grass-fed better? And I always say, of course, but that's not always an option for some people.
For some people, grass-fed is for sure better, tends to have a lower fat content. We like the higher fat content because it satiates us more. So we go with the higher fat content, and it's also cheaper to buy the ground beef we get. Back before COVID and this inflation stuff was going on, we could get ground beef for about $2 a pound. Now it's more than double that. So anyway, keep that in mind. But again, getting back to the time, so Teresa today put together this oxtail. So we had some frozen oxtail that we pulled out of the freezer, we thawed out, we set in here. And then all she did is she coated it with some, with a little bit of Jane's Crazy seasoning. She put in some Kerrygold salted butter on top of it. And then here you can see, this is all fresh ground garlic. So basically we just take, cloves of garlic that we buy from the store, we put it in the garlic press and we press it in here. And then Teresa will just cover it up and simmer it for the day on warm, for 4, 5, 6 hours. And then it's ready by the time you get home from work or, whenever you're ready to eat.
This took like 4 minutes to put in there.
Yeah, super fast and easy option. So anyway, I hope this video helps you guys. We're here for you. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us on Facebook and ask. We're just trying to help everybody and provide the information because it's free. It's out there. We want to show you guys you can do this, and don't make excuses. It's easy to find excuses. It's not easy to actually action on some of this stuff.
Right. Well, it feels overwhelming at first, but we've been doing videos of our meals for the last 2 weeks, so just pick out 2 of our meals.
For sure.
And just start making that. It's just, you don't have to come up with something new every day, but just start with 2 meals a week or something.
And we'll keep these videos and these ideas coming. So, and also feel free to share with us what you do. Like there's probably dozens of things that people are doing with their dehydrated ground beef and other kinds of food that I didn't even mention. And we're really, I'm sure it tastes really good. So we love you guys. Thanks for everything, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.